Welcome back to the deep dive. So, if you've been with us on this series, you know we've been tracking the oversight crisis in Rutherford County.
Hmm.
We've already laid the groundwork, right? We looked at the lobbying power in the Denami dilemma, and then we traced those political ties in the Denami Mum power decade.
Exactly. And today we're moving past that structural analysis and into the hard proof, the documents.
That's right. Our mission in this deep dive is really laser focused. We're going to unpack two critical documents that don't just allege problems, they give you the written evidence of systemic failures.
We're talking about Assessor Rob Mitchell's investigation request from June 26, 2025, and then State Representative Tim Rudd's findings letter from December 7th, 2025.
And these are not just, dusty filing documents. These letters are time-stamped proof. They reveal this shocking level of conflict, really questionable funding streams, and audit practices that seem, well, politically motivated.
The timeline is so key here. Just a few months apart, and they both shine this high-powered spotlight on the very same issues. They really show how public trust in these crucial mechanisms, like audits and oversight, just starts to erode when they get weaponized by politics. We're going to show you how Mitchell and Rudd put this all down on paper.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's start with Assessor Rob Mitchell's letter. So on June 26, 2025, he sends this formal request straight to the top.
Yeah, to Governor Bill Lee and Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti.
He's sounding the loudest possible alarm about this group, the Tennessee Association of Assessing Officers, or TNAO.
And what's just jaw-dropping right from the start is the legal status of this organization.
Oh, yeah.
Mitchell found that TNAO was administratively dissolved way back in 1983.
1983. Wait, think about that. That's 4 decades ago. So legally speaking, this organization just ceased to exist.
It ceased to exist, but it kept operating, it kept collecting dues, and crucially, it kept getting substantial public funds, as if it were totally legitimate.
How does that even happen? How does an entity that technically has no legal standing just keep collecting public money? What does administratively dissolved even mean in practice here?
Well, it means they can't legally function as a corporation. They can't contract for services in the way a registered entity can. But despite that, Mitchell points to this one specific financial deal that raises huge red flags.
Oh, the one with CTS.
The one with CTS. The University of Tennessee's County Technical Assistance Service was paying TNAO a staggering $75,000 a year.
$75,000 annually. For what?
For, and this is vague,
Yeah.
training and support.
How does the state even legally authorize paying a service fee to an organization that, as you said, officially stopped existing during the Reagan administration? That just seems like a fundamental failure of basic accounting.
It directly conflicts with state procurement rules, precisely because of that dissolved status. I mean, you have tens of thousands of dollars of public money flowing year after year to what is essentially a ghost entity.
A ghost entity.
But Mitchell didn't stop there. He connected this financial ghost story to a really serious constitutional problem.
Right, because this ghost entity, TNAO, was actively pushing for a major policy change that would hit people right in the wallet.
Yeah, reclassifying single-family rental homes as commercial property.
And that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. This is where the constitutional stakes get really high. Mitchell showed that this idea runs directly contrary to Article 2, Section 28 of the Tennessee Constitution.
Which protects residential properties.
Exactly. And the direct result for renters, a 15% tax increase on those properties, a cost that, owners would just pass straight on to their tenants.
So let me get this straight. A dissolved association, getting public money, is trying to force an illegal tax increase on housing.
That's the long and short of it.
And when Mitchell tried to get to the bottom of it, when he asked for transparency, what happened?
It vanished. He said his requests for TNAO's financial records, going all the way back to 2012, were just flatly refused.
Well,
Not only that, but counties that had paid dues to this dissolved group, when they asked for refunds, they were just ignored. It's a picture of an organization operating with total impunity.
so his letter wasn't just a complaint. It was a clear call to action, and he had the evidence to back it up. What were his specific recommendations?
He laid out a very clear blueprint. 4 key things. 1, an immediate legal review of TNAO's standing.
Okay.
2, a special audit of all public payments made to them. All of them.
Makes sense.
3, suspend any further payments immediately. And 4, mandatory refunds of all the dues paid by counties. He laid it all out.
So Mitchell flags the phantom organization and the illegal tax threat. But the question is, did the state's accountability mechanisms listen? Or did the pressure to push this illegal tax change just get stronger?
That is the perfect segue. Because the answer is right there in our second document, State Representative Tim Rudd's letter,
And this one comes out on December 7th, 2025.
just 2 days before a major ethics hearing. And this letter, it doesn't focus on TNAAO. It focuses on the Comptroller's audit of the Rutherford County Assessor's Office itself.
So if Mitchell exposed the shady funding on one side, Rudd's letter is about to show us the bias and maybe the weaponization of the oversight process itself.
Exactly. Rudd detailed all these concerns that the auditors were relying almost entirely on, online listings and diagrams.
Not in-person inspections.
Not the required in-person property inspections. And that's not some minor paperwork issue. It's a methodological failure that leads directly to inaccuracies.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not doing the physical review, your audit is suspect from the get-go.
But don't audits use electronic data all the time? What makes this so damning?
It's the combination of that flawed method and a profound conflict of interest.
Ah.
Rudd highlighted this one crucial detail. An auditor who had previously been demoted by Assessor Mitchell was allowed to participate in the audit,
Wait a minute.
even though the Comptroller's office had given assurances that this person would be removed because of the obvious conflict.
So an employee with a clear history of conflict with the assessor was put on the team auditing that same assessor's office. That's not just bias. That feels intentional.
It severely compromises the audit's impartiality. It raises immediate questions about motive, right? When an oversight body lets a demoted employee investigate the person who demoted them, it just shreds objectivity.
It suggests the whole thing might have been used as a political tool.
And speaking of intent, Rudd's letter ties directly back to Mitchell's warning about that tax increase.
He found they were pushing for the same thing.
He documented explicit pressure from the Comptroller's office to illegally classify those single-family rentals as commercial.
So they were trying to force the exact same classification change TNAAO had been pushing for.
And Rudd got the rationale on the record. He has a direct quote from Comptroller Jason Mumpower.
What did he say?
Mumpower stated the change was intended, and I'm quoting here, to help local governments raise revenue.
That quote is the smoking gun. It's not about compliance. It's about policy. It's about finding a way to raise revenue, even if it contradicts state law.
It connects the dots perfectly. You have the external pressure from the dissolved association, and now you have internal pressure from the state's top oversight office, both pushing for the same illegal tax hike.
And the transparency around this was just as bad. Rudd had that story about the county commissioners.
Oh, yeah. A highly telling anecdote. They asked for the audit methodology. How did you reach these conclusions?
And Mumpower just dismissed them.
Dismissed the request, claiming the information was in a spreadsheet that, quote, the commissioner would not understand.
That's incredibly condescending.
It is. And the irony here is just, it's perfect. The commissioner who made that request was not some uninformed citizen.
Who was it?
This person was a practicing lawyer, a certified public accountant, a CPA, and a former assistant attorney general.
So a lawyer and a CPA wouldn't understand a spreadsheet. That sounds less like data complexity and more like deliberate gatekeeping.
Exactly. If that person can't understand the methodology, who can? It was stonewalling, pure and simple.
So after laying all this out, the flawed methods, the conflicts of interest, the pressure, what was Rudd's final conclusion?
He concluded that many of the supposed errors in the audit were minor, immaterial. And he stressed that Rutherford County's audits had been historically excellent before this one.
And his recommendations.
An investigation into the Department of Property Assessors itself, funding for more staff for the assessor's office, and critically, upholding state law that single-family rentals remain residential.
Okay, now we bring it all together. This is the synthesis. We have Mitchell's letter from June sounding the alarm, and Rudd's letter from December showing the specific state mechanism, the audit being used to apply that exact same pressure.
Yes.
This is that aha moment for you, the listener. What happens when you put these two documents side by side?
A really consistent, coordinated pattern of systemic failure just emerges. It's undeniable. You have a county assessor and a state representative confirming the same 4 key problems.
Okay, let's list them. First, improper funding.
Right. A dissolved organization, TNAAO, still getting $75,000 a year in public funds. That should have been stopped decades ago.
Second, legal pressure.
A convergence of pressure. From TNAAO's advocacy on one side and the Comptroller's audit on the other, both aimed at a single illegal goal: altering property classifications to raise taxes on renters.
Third, questionable accountability. The audit itself.
Flawed methodology, no transparency, and a clear documented conflict of interest with that demoted auditor. It's all there.
And fourth, This shows that the oversight system is compromised.
The whole structure we've been talking about in this series, the conflicts of interest, the overlapping roles, this is the proof it was actively interfering with lawful government functions. The system was failing to police itself.
So what this all means for the public is that the very system designed to ensure fairness, the audit process, may have been used as a tool of political and financial pressure. It's not just about one ethics dispute anymore.
That's the key takeaway. This is documentary proof. Mitchell and Rudd's letters show that these conflicts were actively undermining basic constitutional and statutory standards. When a conflict is that visible and the system doesn't correct it, it really calls into question accountability across the entire state.
So this deep dive, it builds on everything we've discussed. We went from the lobbying conflicts in the Denami dilemma to the political history in the Denami Mumpower decade, and now, with evidence in writing, we have the documented proof.
The paper trail is clear.
It shows how oversight gets compromised, how audits are potentially weaponized, and how dissolved organizations can somehow keep drawing taxpayer money.
And that leads to a necessary final thought for you to mull over. If an organization that was administratively dissolved in 1983 can still get $75,000 in public money every single year,
Yeah.
what does that suggest about the basic checks and balances on public spending across the whole state? If that fundamental oversight is missing, where else might public funds be flowing inappropriately?
A very profound thought on accountability. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the source material. We encourage you to keep exploring these themes. We'll see you next time.